guys. How are you all? Thank you guys for being here. Okay, so I just want to say hello to everyone instead of individual hellos. I want to get started, right into it. But first, I just want to say so this is a series I did on the channel maybe 2 years ago. It's been a while, and I have a playlist called A Conversation with Season 1. Well, I wanted to do a season 2, and there's a playlist for that as well. This will just be the second one because I also had Deets on a few weeks ago for this, but I am really, really excited. I truly mean this. I have had the pleasure of getting to know Nunya a little bit behind the scenes, and I can't wait to have this discussion. I can't wait for you guys to get to know her. And yeah, I'm just excited. So her channel is at the top of the chat. I know you probably don't want me to say that. Let me go ahead and bring you up. Hello, Nunya. You guys go check out her channel.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. I just finished putting away groceries, so it's perfect timing today.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited, to bring this back and you and Deets to be the first two. And then I'm having Jen on because we had talked about I want to do Jen Lee too. She's going to come on next week. So I'm really excited to do this.
Yeah, when you first had asked me, and thankfully, I don't know if I'm allowed to mention Wolfie, but Wolfie sent me the playlist, and I kind of binge watched the whole playlist of everybody who had been on before, and I love the theme.
Yeah,
I absolutely love the theme because I feel like, a lot of times I'm not going to get to, up on my soapbox, but I feel like a lot of times on the internet, we kind of we dehumanize people a lot. And when you're behind a keyboard, you see an avatar and that's what you represent somebody as. So some of the ones that I watched, there's a lot of creators on your playlist that I watched. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that about them. Like their, growing up stories or high school stories or, what even brought them here in the first place. Like it really it was like, wow, like I didn't know, I don't know.
It's I'm so glad you loved it. Well, also, please get on your soapbox at any time. I got one here for you. I'll push it out here. Go ahead, use mine.
Okay.
No, but I was so when you told me that you loved it, I was like, oh my God, I was so excited because I didn't know if you'd even be down, And then I was like, yes. And then Nunya was like, do you have one with Jen Lou? So I'm like,
yeah,
no,
that's a part I don't really know her, but I've seen her in a lot of chats and heard her on panels, and so sometimes when she points things out on panels, I'm like, man, I vibe with that, and so I was like, do you have one with her? Because I would love to. I don't know, I think it just gives you a different perspective on people.
Yes.
And you're like, no, but I'm gonna go ask her if she'll do one with me. I'm like, okay, great. I'm excited to see that one.
Yes, I'm excited too. And you're right. It gives you people get so hateful on here, and I think that that is part of why that dehumanizing someone. So knowing these little details, even if you may walk away and feel no differently, but I don't know. I just think it's really interesting, and it can't hurt. It's plus I've always thought of it like this. This was kind of my idea at first, but let me say real quick, Wolfie, I love you too, and thank you for being a member for 42 freaking months. And then Deeds, thank you. And Midnight Mystic, you guys, thank you for gifting those members. Oh my gosh, Deeds has been a member for 9 months. Merry Christmas from Crew and Nana. Thank you, Deeds. And Edith for 8 months. Thank you, Edith. Thank you, guys. You are so sweet. Thank you.
Oh wow, she is beautiful. I don't know if that's her in the picture, but if it is,
I think she's beautiful too. I love this setting because you can actually see their pictures. Sometimes with the comments you can't see their pictures, but so when I started this, I kind of thought it'd be so cool to have a place where all these creators that I watch and that it was Watts Community Days and stuff like that, where you could go to find out, and even in the future, maybe people who watch them in the future can go back and find a little more about them, and just kind of, that was my idea. So plus I really enjoy the conversation just in general. I've enjoyed everyone that I've done, to be honest. So
yeah, I think I love the idea. So
well, okay, then let me go ahead and get started. So my very first, okay, so like I said at the beginning, and I truly do mean this, like I've so enjoyed getting to know you. And but for people who don't know you, how would you describe yourself? Like, who is Nunya? Who is the Good Nunya? Yeah, how would you describe yourself and your channel after yourself?
Well, I have gotten labeled since coming to YouTube as, like I have a whole theme of, I have Clyde. Clyde's my co-host, also the high horse that I ride. But I would say I'm a person who I stand on what my morals and integrity allow me to do. I am super opinionated. I have an opinion about everything. If it's my business, your business, her business, her auntie mama's baby daddy's business, I have an
Yeah.
opinion about it. So that's what I would definitely say is definitely maybe my channel may be an opinion channel. I don't know.
Like, so when,
But
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
that's okay. I was just going to say, I think that one of the things that I have done very well is I'm a really good communicator. And so sometimes I can make things make sense or bring a different perspective of things.
Yes.
And mostly in drama, sometimes in true crime, that's very necessary because people can be, blinded by their dislike and
Yeah. Oh,
things
yeah.
like that. So, yeah,
So,
my channel, I'm going to be completely transparent here and say one of the reasons why I don't like my channels dropped anywhere is because I feel like people, especially like, like you, I'm going to use you and MJ as an example, right? If
okay.
you push my channel and let's just say I'm going to Pointer Lover, I don't know who they are, but their name is the first one I see in the chat popped up. But if they go to my channel and they're thinking that like it's going to be something like yours, it's nothing like yours.
Right. That's all right. But
And so like it may
yeah.
not be something you're looking for, and so I don't I like for people to get to know me in chats. I'm really active in chats and I'll hop on panels from time to time if the subject is something that, I'm interested in. But I am a little bit more, I'm an observer for sure. And it takes
Well,
quite a bit for me to go live and say my opinions on things because I want to know every, thing about everything.
well, that's what when I when I interrupted you, that's what I was gonna ask. So do you feel like your passion kind of drives your content? Like regardless of the topic, you get like really passionate about something, you're like, okay, I need to talk about this. And then
100%.
that's
My passion, like
awesome.
if I have to really, I don't just run around like randomly every day giving opinions on things. It
Yeah.
has to be something, it has to be a situation where I feel like I'm in a twilight zone where nobody else can see what I'm seeing. And
Right.
so I'll go live and like, am I in a twilight zone? Is anybody else out there seeing this? Like,
Yes, I know what
am
you
I
mean.
alone here? And that typically is what I'll do is I'll just go live. And I think it helps people, for my subscribers, it helps them to feel like they're not alone in feeling a certain type of way, whether it be like about a way that a family is being treated, a victim's family is being treated, or
Yeah.
how a case is being handled with nothing but drama, or even a drama situation, where people may be lying or not showing receipts for things and all that combined. So
Yeah, which I freaking love that about you. And let me say, your channel has been that for me a time or two, where I'm sitting there like, is everyone seeing what I'm seeing? And, you know, there are a lot of things I don't like to drag onto my channel because I always
mhm.
try to keep it like centered on the cases. I do have my second channel and I can kind of vent there, but oftentimes I just keep my mouth shut. But frustrated, like you said, this Twilight Zone effect where, hello, is anyone out there? Does it, is this real life? Am I an alien type of feeling? And then I'll hear you, like what you're saying, and I'm like, yes, thank God. Thank God I'm not alone.
Mhm.
So I love that. Okay, so I want to talk about your relationship with YouTube a little bit first, and then we're going to get into like some other things. But first, what brought you to YouTube initially? Like, how did you find the live chat community? Actually, how did you find? Did you ever just do YouTube videos, like music videos, and then what guided you into like the live chat community?
So I would watch YouTube videos from time to time. I didn't have like creators that I followed constantly. It would just be like a, hey Google, show me how to, I don't know, like make tortillas from scratch, right? And so it would be like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um, but what actually brought me here to this community specifically, as well as thank you, Edith, but as well as to the live streaming part of it.
Mhm.
I would say so. I was actually on Facebook first. I'm one of those Facebook people, you know. But I was on Facebook first, and originally back in 2017, I had actually become friends with Dre McCrae and her family, in real life and online. And so when the stuff with her husband had happened, and I just started to see that the internet was on fire, and they were portraying this person who, like, I loved her family, you know,
Right.
and I felt some type of way, and I felt like I needed to defend my friend in that moment. But I also knew that she chooses to fight in silence, and she wouldn't have wanted that. So I started just finding receipts, and when people would make a video that showed things one particular way about her, I would start and I would go and find like the full thing, not just a clip of that video. And then I ended up meeting Nonsense on the web. I met her on Facebook as well. And I kind of watched for a little bit because I didn't trust anybody at that point. Like they were all a hot mess. And none of them really wanted to know the bigger picture.
Right.
And so when I met her, we started talking in DMs first, you know, and the more that we talked, the more that I felt like she was actually like open and listening and really wanted to know the full story. And so then Molly Golightly was covering it on YouTube, and it was really ramping up. And so then she started her page on YouTube, and I just helped like collect, you know, put timeline. I'm really good with timelines, so putting timelines together, you know, grabbing a clip here or there. She did her own videos and stuff like that. From time to time I would hop up on her panel, and we would just kind of again make things make sense.
Yeah.
And as that happened, it kept kind of growing from there. And from there, what I ended up doing is I wanted a place where there were certain things I felt like I was involved in other communities and getting to know people in other communities and seeing things in other people in other communities. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I can absolutely, like, I have something to say about these things. But Nonsense was doing one specific type of content at the time. I needed a space for myself. So I created my page and I just started to do that content for myself from there.
Well, it's freaking crazy. It's a full circle moment. And I know, I'm pretty sure I've like told you this in detail, but just for everyone, like, I was just going along covering true crime. I was covering Summer Wells case, and I was being hard on the parents. I'll be honest. I'm not proud of my coverage those days. I don't think I was. I just am not proud of it. I'm actually I'm ashamed of it in a way, but also, you know. Oh, wait a minute. It's pulling something up. Do I want to quit? Hold on. Sorry, my computer did something funky. But anyways, I was just doing my thing, kind of not looking at the full picture, I guess, not even, I guess, realizing like the impact I could have. And I was a little bit interested in the Marvon and Dre situation, and stumbled over to Nonsense because of that. And after I found her channel, it just changed for me. Like, I remember seeing you there even back then, in the chats and on a panel or two, if I'm not mistaken, that I remember. And um, it just changed for me. Everything clicked. I was like, oh my God. For one, things are not always what they seem. And we know that on the internet. And I had been a part of like situations that had been portrayed dishonestly. So I knew that. But then figuring out the truth and watching Nonsense kind of show, this creator said this, and let me show you how it's wrong. And showing creators I had been watching and believing, you know, if you're only watching a certain person's content, or you're not seeing the people that are showing that it's not true, you will just believe it. And it changed everything for me. It's certainly changed how I do my channel. And it's just crazy that now you're here, and we're friends, and it's just so cool. I'm just thankful for you guys coming to YouTube in the first place, and it's really freaking cool, full circle moment for me right now, knowing that. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that it's abnormal for people to get caught up when they're covering a case or to see something that they believe to be the truth about a parent, whether it be of a missing person or a victim in a case or a suspect in a case, right? I think it's a natural human reaction to judge that, right?
Yeah.
But it's, can you bring yourself back from that? Can you reason within yourself or put more logic and less emotion into that? That's where I think that makes the difference in people.
Yeah.
And I mean, right now we're seeing it everywhere with, with the Sebastian Rogers case right now. Like, it's a hot mess, but it's because nobody can pull their emotions out of it. Everybody is taking their own personal experiences, whether it be experience with being a special needs parent,
Yep.
experience with abuse, both physical and, SA. They're taking those experiences and they're putting it on the
Yes.
Proudfoots or on Seth, and they can't pull those emotions back at this point. So the emotions are just running rampant amongst on all sides.
Yes.
It really is sad because with all of that emotion running rampant, it really, who hurts from that? I think I
Yeah.
asked a question on the live stream, maybe, I don't know, maybe a week ago. And I really wish every creator who is doing that type of content right now would just sit back honestly with yourself, like look in the mirror and say, if Sebastian watched every minute of your content that you did about him missing and about the case, right? Would he be proud of what you have said or done? And that's for every creator. I would almost guarantee that there is not one creator out there right now. Maybe there's a couple. I'll give them that. I, I got less than 5 right now in my head. But outside of that, with the hundreds that have covered him, then you've got those 5 versus 195
Yep.
that would not be able to say he'd absolutely be proud of the way that I represented him, represented his family, represented his best interest at all times. And I think that's where it's sad because people lose that perspective very, very quickly.
Well, okay, so and I want to get more into his to that as well, but that's a heartbreaking freaking thought. Like, to think about him watching all the videos is absolutely heartbreaking. I wish people would really think about that, but unfortunately I don't know that they will.
So, I don't, Deets may kick my butt. I woke up yesterday morning, which I'll share with everybody, because it'll probably be done in a couple of days now, from the way it's looking. But I woke up yesterday morning, and I kind of spent this week. I don't watch a lot of the content anymore because I just think it's so gross. Like, no matter who you watch, even if you don't watch or listen to the creator, if you just look at their chats, even the chats are just toxic as all can be, right?
Yes.
And so I woke up yesterday morning and I thought, so I had an idea. I'm a big ideas person. I'm not really an executor. I can be. I'm a good like organizer, but I'm not a good clipper. I'm a terrible video maker. My videos, if you look at my page, are complete trash. Like, they're okay, but they're not like, beats on the streets worthy.
Um,
Um,
I'm sure
but
they're good. No.
but I woke up yesterday morning and I thought, you see, you could go in, and there are sides. So, like, don't get mad at me for saying there's sides. Unfortunately, the reality is there are sides, but you can go into any creator that says side and you watch that content and you ask those people and they're like, my creator is not as bad as that creator on the other side. And then you go to the other side and you ask, and those people are like, there's no way my creator is not as bad as the ones on that side, right? And so I was like, maybe. So I have an idea for a video that should be out, hopefully, again, fingers crossed, this week. But I have an idea for a video where I want to show every creator, and every single time that a chat or a creator has bashed the parents on all sides. And I think that when it's as thankfully we have a good community that is supporting the efforts in this.
Yeah.
But last night I watched a lot of what's coming in from it. And when I tell you, it is heartbreaking and so toxic to hear the things that have been said about these parents that are coming in. And I'm like, man, like it is going, it turns my stomach to know that like this end product it's going to be hard for people to watch, but it is
Mm,
a harsh pill that people are going to have to swallow because these are your favorite creators. These are
yeah.
the people that you're supporting, whether it be in your views, in the money, in the memberships, any of that stuff. Like you're supporting that as subscribers. This is what you stand by. And like I think we just need to, excuse my language, we got to stand in our shit right now because that's what we've done, you know? And maybe I'm hoping, my hope and prayer truly is that people can just see things from a different perspective. And
Yes.
maybe they just take one step back. You know, it may not be 5 or 10, which they probably need to take 25 steps back. But even
Well,
if they just
I have a feeling that's going to be extremely powerful. And I can't wait. I cannot wait to see it. I have been absolutely sick watching the coverage. And, I've said here, and I won't go into detail, but I will say this. A family member of mine, a very, very close, like, family member, works in his school. And when he first went missing, they had reached out to me. They knew I had a channel where I would talk about that stuff and had told me about it. When I think, and I've done this so many times, I've thought about if they knew or saw the shit going on YouTube, I would be so embarrassed. I don't think they do because they don't really like watch YouTube like that. But just if they do, I'm embarrassed because this is what I'm proud to do. And like I said, it's a close family member, like sibling or a sibling's husband or wife or something like that, very close. And it's just shameful to think about if they watch it. I cannot imagine. So
yeah.
yeah, can't wait for that video to come out. I think it's going to be really great.
Yeah, I think it's going to be impactful and very powerful. So I'm grateful for the community that has been willing to assist in going out and watching some of this content. And we're going from from I think we started in March up to December. There is a lot. There is a lot that was said and a lot of
Yeah.
terrible, terrible things that have been presented on all sides. So yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
I
see.
can't
But
wait. Well,
I don't even
since
know
we
what
got
question
onto
you
the
want.
case, I was going to do like some case talk next because I know that you don't consider yourself true crime, but you are true crime adjacent. And oftentimes
Yep.
you are speaking out about people being, like you said, victims, family members being mistreated. You're just very passionate about standing up for not only what's right, the victims, their families. I think in my notes right here, I literally wrote, and really, you're just after the truth. So I want to talk about a few cases that have been big on social media and then a few that haven't, but some that I know that you've talked about. And Sebastian's was one of them. So I have a question. What are your thoughts on like the SADS thing? Like to me, it's so sad. And I really wish people didn't feel it. And that's really as much as I'll say. I want you to answer the question. But yeah, how do you feel about this whole my side versus your side and how we might feel that or smother it, how channels can affect that.
I think the biggest impact is the subscribers. And I know that sounds wild and crazy because the creators are the one doing the content, but I can guarantee you that any creator who gets 100 people in their chat is nowhere near as prone to continue that said content as the content that gives them 1,800, 1,200, 2,000 in their chat. So I think that the subscribers are probably the number one driving force, in my opinion. The
Yeah.
other thing I would say is, the sides. I think the sides, I always joke that this place is like a social experiment. like gone wrong at times and sometimes gone very right. I think they can totally like there's this, I've seen some amazing things happen for the community at times. But what I will say on the flip side of that is, for me, the sides come from two main things. The number one thing I would say is it's a personal history.
Yeah.
Every single creator you see on one side or the other, there's some type of personal history, beef. Um, you did this, you said that, like they used to be friends, now they're not friends. Like it's
Yeah.
so personal, and they can't take their personal feelings out of something for the better of a case or
Yeah.
for a victim or for the family. So that's number one. The second thing I would say is, when it comes to creators and subs, is, and I actually seen it happen recently, and I was talking to somebody about it, a creator who I absolutely adore. I think she is so pro families. Like 1,000, I would never ever, even for a second, doubt how much she cares for these families, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching a stream, and I noticed in that stream that it's the confirmation bias.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
it may be as simple as, I don't know, that dad's interaction with the daughter makes me very uncomfortable, right? And this is just an example. It makes
Right.
me very uncomfortable. It's very odd to me. I think there's something more to it, and it starts there, but it comes from maybe, and I'm not talking about that creator in specific, this is general, but maybe there's a situation in your own personal life where
Yeah.
personally seen a dad be inappropriate to a daughter at some point in time. And so your mind is automatically trained to look for those things. Or if you've ever been physically abused, or I know it happens to women who have been in domestic violence situations and they were able to make it out of that, right? When
Yeah.
they hear a man speak very firmly or get angry, that triggers something within their own emotions, and they absolutely immediately react with that. And that's just where they immediately go to, the man is bad, because that man represents a man that they've had in their life,
Yes.
acted just like that, talked just like that. And so there's so many different situations, but I think people bring their own trauma and their own confirmation bias into it. And that's another, like, deciding factor to the sides.
Yeah. See, for me, I hate the sides, and I think that it's really simple the way that, like it, and the idea is simple of how it started, because think about it. You have these two parents, obviously history. They've been through a divorce, they've been through custody stuff. We know that, Sebastian has been through his own things, and the parents, of course, are going to like argue along the way going through all of that. And then he goes missing. And I think they're blaming each other, because all this personal history. So when these YouTube channels, find they might like this one better than the other or whatever, many of them don't think they're even guilty. They just don't like them. But these YouTube channels, they get an interest, or their channel grows off of it, and they start fueling that divide. And I think that at this point that has pushed them so far apart. I hope and pray there's a way they can come together and kind of push the BS aside, push the noise aside. But I don't know if it's possible because of all the creators in the way. If you think about it, like on Seth's side, I truly believe there are many creators, in my opinion, manipulating him and kind of using him for their own things. I'm sure some truly care. Not all of them are like that, but I do believe that, and vice versa. Because guess what? When the parent is your buddy, your people are going to come to your chat to see what they have to say. And it's just unfortunate. I don't know. I don't think it will stop because of that. That's what's fueling it, and it sucks.
Yeah, I don't think that, for me personally, I don't think that there is any creator that the families are currently in contact with that has their best interests at heart. I just don't. I think that every single person that they're in contact with is is being opportunist.
Yeah.
And again, they're all waiting to break a story. That's really what it's about for them. It's not really about, and it's definitely, thank you, Adrian, follow the money, exactly. It's about that for them. It has nothing to do with the trauma that this family is going through and their needs as a family. Because truly, if they if they actually took the time to sit back and consider the needs of the family, then they would go for peace amongst the parents. And they
Yeah,
would, hey, let's not
exactly.
bash this person. Hey, let's not bash that person. Hey, don't talk like that on my panel about that other parent right now. We like to respect all parents,
Yes.
they would put that forward, and they don't, because that's not going to bring them views. People want sides. And that's the unfortunate part. They want a lot of subscribers. They want the salacious drama of it all.
I
It's
know.
the reason why there's not been a new fact by law enforcement that has been put out, I think, since March or April. Yet here we are in December still with thousands of people in these chats
Every
watching
damn
nothing
of them.
but drama. Every
Yes.
week there's a new news cycle. I think it was actually Spudler who came out, who actually came out with the idea or had mentioned it at one point in time, and it has stuck with me ever since then. Is she was talking about she thinks there may be a cycle, an actual news cycle that this happens in, where as soon as the case kind of dies down and people seem to be kind of just going with the flow, and then boom, there's a new salacious detail that comes out, and everybody's fired up and outraged and talking about it, and then it dies down, and then boom, there's another one. Like, you go
Yes.
from the Texas Roadhouse to the Green Hoodie to satellites to this to that, and it
Yeah.
just keeps going. And it's just this, it's a vicious cycle, and none of them want to break it. That's the reason why they won't break it.
Yeah, they'll feed into every little BS and every rumor. I mean, just think them those oh my God. There were people rewatching that video of them eating over and over and over and over. Oh my God, she's looking over there. She must be looking for the person that's there to meet them. She's texting. Why is she taking a picture of him? I want to see that picture. Where is that picture? What the hell is wrong with you people? You are not investigators. I don't know who you think you are, but I really think if you're feeling like if you are saying things like that and that involved, you need to take a second, take a break, take a minute, because there's a lot we don't know about, and it's just not our place to know everything. It's just not. And to speculate, so speculation is fine, not reckless speculation. I don't like it.
One
Um,
of the things I did learn, when Molly played the body cam footage for Dre McCrae, and I stupidly sat through the live stream, which was not the smartest thing for me, because I absolutely went off the next time I hit the live button.
right.
But when she played that, you see everybody in the chat, like, if that was me, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have been smiling. I would have been crying. They would have barely been able to pick me up off the floor. If that was me, I wouldn't
Yeah.
have been, and you see the same thing with the Texas Roadhouse video. If that was me, I would have put my phone down and talked to my kid more. If that was me, I would have paid attention to the fact my kid wasn't eating they're eating like crazy. Do you know, again, if you took a camera and you followed some of these creators around with their interaction with their own children,
Yeah.
you do know that could be picked apart, because what you do is not what somebody else would do. We are all different. I
Yeah.
go out to restaurants quite a bit, and trust and believe, I am that parent on their phone at the restaurant. My kids are the kids on their phones at the restaurant. I get not
Right.
everybody likes that. Not everybody does that. But man, you have got to stop putting on what you would do on other people, because we are all completely different.
Yes, I completely agree. Like I said, you truly speak to my soul. I just want to sit here and like clap and be like, yes. Funny, but it's true. Pointer lover, thank you so much. Says be proud of your channel and yourself. You are an amazing human being. You are an amazing human being, and thank you. And I can't thank you enough for being here, supporting me, and having my back for all these years. I really appreciate it. It means so much to me. But yeah, it's ridiculous. These, like you said, this is going to be a question coming up, but I might as well just ask you now. So
Okay.
we have this like going real life thing on YouTube, and what people consider going real life, and it's for basically the way I understand it, and you can tell me if you agree, is like you don't want to get anything from off the platform. You're not going to pull up mugshots, criminal history, body cam, things about your family. Just keep it to on the platform. A lot of people like to stay by those standards, but why is it different with like like for instance, Chris and Katie or Seth. I mean, all the pictures, him moving, calling the realtor, the shit that happens. Like, I'm sorry, that's intrusive and it ain't right. Police said they're cooperating. If they're arrested, sure, pull up their house, pull up all their information. But for me, that's how I feel. So I'm really curious, like how you feel about that. Where's your line with that?
So I have a pretty extreme view of what I consider real life. So for me personally, when it comes to just drama, right, creator versus creator,
Yeah.
I don't think that anything off platform, and by platform, I don't mean all of social media, I mean YouTube. People typically give you more than enough content when they are what I would consider
Yes.
a trash person who does trash things, they
Yes.
give you more than enough content to use right here and there. You don't need to go off platform. I'm a person who, like, kids are completely off limits for me. I don't mess with kids. It's just my stance. When it comes to true crime, it's a little bit different. I do understand that sometimes, there may be, so for example, putting out the inside of Chris and Katie's home, of the layout of the inside of Chris and Katie's home. I think that is dangerous because they still live there, and there are idiots on the internet, unfortunately, who don't have boundaries and who will go too far. And because they still live there, and because Sebastian could one day live there,
Yeah.
be back home with them and live there, you are putting them in a dangerous space. And so for me, that would be going real life. Um, I don't know why anybody cares if Seth moved. I'm not sure what the relevance of him moving 10 months later is. I haven't even watched that content to know
Yes.
why everybody thinks it, why they're pulling up the Zillow or contacting a realtor to ask if it's actually empty or any of that stuff. Where he lives, also not my business. Like, how does it actually help bring his kid home in
Yes.
any way? Like,
Mm.
putting out Sebastian's face, helping with, I seen, there was, going out and searching if you're a local person, helping with some of the drone, footage, perhaps, like those kinds of things, those help. Any salacious rumor, drama, any of that kind of stuff, it's just terrible.
Yeah, I agree.
Everyone in any relationship, let investigators do their job. Yeah. Well, the Claire, just gonna say, on YouTube, we're all investigators. We have no training, no actual formal training, no actual retirement training that we retired from. We just all think we know how human behavior is. We all have our YouTube psychology degrees, our YouTube detective badges. We down there have our FBI YouTube badges, like the YBI, the YouTube Bureau of
Yeah.
Investigation badges. We've got everything here.
Yeah.
And all you had to do was sign up for a YouTube Google account. That's it. Like
Yeah.
that's how
No
they are. But
qualification needed. No, no screening.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And why bother with facts? Those pesky little things.
yeah, they're no
Yeah,
fun. Facts are
yeah,
boring, on.
yeah. The police said there's no signs of foul play. We don't believe them. What do they
Yeah.
know?
Will, I'm so freaking happy to see you come by, especially for this live, because years ago I
Mhm.
interviewed Will and it's on the playlist from season 1. And yeah, it's really cool. Nunya actually watched your interview when we were talking about her coming on because I want to start like a second series of interviews from people. And yeah, so it's just really cool that you're here. I'm glad that you're here. Um,
I love The Glares was my first one that I watched, and
mhm.
I absolutely loved it. Like, so much stuff that he talked about, I didn't know. Like, I never knew that about him. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm getting to know him. Like, maybe I actually like him a little. No, I'm just kidding. I like The Glare, but it was really good because there's so many stories that he shared, about growing up and being a young adult that I didn't know about him. And it was like,
Yeah.
it's eye-opening. So I enjoyed it.
I know. I love that you loved it, and I went back
Oh,
and
yeah.
watched some of it, and I'm like, oh, I just embarrassed, like cringe watching myself, so I couldn't watch for too long. But yeah, it's super cool. But
Yeah.
Remy says Will is big time now, kinda. Oh, well, I love you too. Thank you. And I'm glad you're here.
Mhm.
Um, okay. So let me see what I've got here. Oh, okay. I just wanted to mention this when it comes to Sebastian before we move on to, because I want to talk Karen Reed, Marvin and Dre, Quinton, and Michael Vaughn as well. But before we go to the next one, do you feel like, because this is kind of how I feel, it seems like they want to go, like, it's like they're having a trial in the court of public opinion. You know what I mean? Like watching it when Chris jumped up the other night, my God, that was just hard to watch. Like, and yeah, I'm curious, do you feel like that's kind of what's happening? We're seeing people be found guilty and innocent and going through, it's just, there's no rules, there's no decency involved.
Well, that's 100%. And I think that's every case. I don't think that just applies. Um, I think that's every case that gets discussed. I have no problem with discussions or a little bit of, speculation. Like I think speculation is completely healthy. I think it's when you draw a conclusion based off of speculation that's where it's dangerous. But I definitely think that 100%, like honestly, didn't that panel feel like the person was on the witness stand and the prosecutor or
Yes,
defense attorney was grilling them?
yes, exactly.
That's
But you're
exactly what
right.
it feels like, but that's because they are on trial. These
Yes.
parents are the ones who are on trial. Like they have deemed that these people are guilty in some way or another, one side or the other one, and so therefore we've got to go ahead and make them. I have
It's
never seen Lindsay's picture
sad.
that big either, and I know what she looks like.
It's so cool
Interesting.
to see him big like that.
I
But
like
no,
this layout. I'm
it's
going to use
sad.
this.
I'm just sad to watch it all. Like, I wouldn't be best friends with any of them, but at the end of the day, I sat there and I watched Chris talk on that panel. My heart broke. Like there were times where he said shit that was sad. It just like really breaks your heart, could make you cry there. I did not with that one, but personally when I watched Seth, I cried my eyes out because the music and you just see him, he's it's so sad. They are grieving. I just don't understand, like, there's so much better things to do with your time than go after those three people, in my opinion, and I hate it so much. But
Yeah, all I can do is hope that the people who have attempted to put their judge robe on every day on YouTube, that one day they don't have to take that robe off and be in the seat, in the testimony stand, because until you're in that situation, I am very blessed to have children who haven't gone missing, and who are, well and taken care of. But I don't know what I would do. I know what I think I would do, and I think we all know like what we think we would do, but you don't really know what you would do. You don't know if everybody on the internet is, I mean, they are picking apart every detail of your life down to what happened to you when you were a kid in your family home. What type of diagnosis do you have? What's your medical look like? Are you on disability? What does your income look like? How much money do you have? What's your relationship with your parents like?
yeah,
Like all of these things that don't actually make a like one difference to the actual information.
exactly. They will
But
not. It's not
man,
going to help in any way.
yeah, yeah. Until I agree, point of lover. We don't know what we would do until it happens to you. Yeah, and I could say what I think I would do, but when being in a space where your brain is in a trauma mode and you are just trying, I couldn't imagine what Christmas was like for any of the parents. Or
Yeah.
and not just with this case, I can't imagine what it was like for Tyler and Brandy. I can't imagine what it was like for BJ. I can't
Yeah.
imagine what it was like for, for the O'Keefes or for the Reeds.
Yes. I know.
You know what I mean? Like so many cases, and you can put so many different names in it. But you know what I imagine? I think to myself, I imagine how terrible I think it would be and how much I would probably cry myself to sleep and then I put 10 or 20 on that. And that's probably what those days look like. They probably take your breath away some days. And I would imagine they don't want to get out of the bed the next day. But guess what? Life keeps going. Bills have to be paid. They've got to get up and go to work and act like nothing has happened and live their life. But by golly, still, they've got to look the way the internet wants them to look. They've got to talk the way the internet wants them to talk in order to be considered worthy enough to be able to take care of, to get some sympathy from the internet. It's a wild dynamic.
It is. I hate it too so much. It really bothers me. Lil Red says, here's the flip side. What if in the end, what is speculated is the truth? Here's my thing. Doesn't really matter, because if what is speculated is true, then there will be a court process and a trial, and we will know all the facts. So I don't like, I'm sure people would do the I told you so, or look, I was right, but it doesn't make it okay, in my opinion. What if it's not true? What if that, like, let me flip that question around just for a second, Lil Red, and ask you this, and everybody this, like, what if in the end, what is speculated is not the truth? That is.
Well, I think that's the reason why I don't really have a problem with some of the basic speculation. I mean, the truth is, right? The actual truth is that something has happened. Something has happened. I think putting a label on what something is where it gets dangerous. And ultimately, I think the only person who should be in charge of putting a label on what something is law enforcement. Because truly, let's just say, okay, let's say that, I don't know, Jim Bob the neighbor did something. Okay. Jim Bob the neighbor does something to a kid. Ultimately, if you could speculate till the cows come home. That doesn't put Jim Bob in jail. It doesn't bring charges on Jim Bob, and it sure in the hell doesn't convict or sentence Jim Bob.
Yeah.
So your speculation did nothing.
No justice. Yeah. You're not achieving justice. So what the hell's it for?
Yeah. So I'm good with, and again, that's why I'm saying, I think that it is okay to, for me, like, I'm just saying my own personal stance here. I apologize. I'm realizing right now as I'm hearing myself talk that I keep saying I'm speaking for me as if I'm not speaking for me. It's just a habit, apparently, that I don't foresee myself breaking during this interview. So don't judge me. All right. That's all I can say.
We listen and we
listen and we don't judge.
Yes.
But what I will say is I have questions for each of the parents. I have areas that I am suspicious for each of the parents, and that's for every situation. Every case we talk about, I would have questions for everybody, unless they've been completely cleared, right? That'd be different by law enforcement only. However, I am not owed a single answer. I am no one but a nosy person on the internet. They do not owe me any answers for any questions I may ever have.
Yep, exactly.
And I think that's where we do get it mixed up here is we think that we are owed answers.
Yes. Oh, why? Or even like the plead in the fifth thing, like to who? Like, I don't know. It's just, I think some people just maybe don't really follow that much true crime, and then they get a case that gets their attention for one reason or another, and that's part of it, because they don't really know how things work. And I don't know. Maybe that's me being naive, but okay. So my next question. Now we're going to get into some of the other ones. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I wanted to point out, Jen Lou, I think you're actually right. It says it's a panel habit. I got to be clear that when I'm on with somebody else, I'm only speaking for myself. So I think that is what it is.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Okay, I dropped my freaking pen, but thankfully, I guess I don't need it. Damn it. Okay, so next I want to talk about, just some of the other cases I know you've talked about, I know you've been passionate about and interested in. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned Marvon and Dre, and I told you it did make me rethink true crime. I honestly was part of the problem at first in that situation, but what let me see how I want to say this. What is your just general idea of what happened in that situation, what role social media played, and just your kind of like final thoughts, wrapping up your thoughts on the situation? And I know it's personal for you, so I didn't know if you were going to share that or not. And you know,
Yeah.
yeah, just say whatever
Yeah,
you
I don't
want.
mind. When I first came here, I never spoke on it. The only reason why I'm saying it now is because I have said it live on my own panel. I don't think I spoke on my relationship at that point in time. Not, I think I was here for like 6 to 8 months, and I would never speak for somebody else because their experience is theirs to have.
Yeah,
That's their experience. Obviously, I think as all of us can relate to, we have friends who we may not agree with, everybody's parenting ways or everybody's dietary ways or everybody's religious ways or
yes,
everybody's political beliefs, and we're all very different, but ultimately your family is your family and you do what's best for them. I think one of the biggest challenges for me was at that point in time was just being able to be silent to an extent. um I knew what was out there was wrong, but to watch the internet twist something, it was my first experience truly watching vitriol hate in action every day towards somebody.
yeah.
And like there were people and a lot of creators, like they hated her. One of the biggest things we ended up moving from Facebook to YouTube about was there was a Facebook group created. The I think there was 5 or 6 people. Don't quote me on it because it's been a while. But the 5 or 6 people in that group, they were mods who had never met her before in their lives, never talked to her outside of seeing a live stream, that she may have done. They never interacted with her. And the 5 or 6 of them, like they hated her. Like, I mean, they were in contact with CPS, the workers. Just everything, you name it. The VA tracking her down, found her at her mom's house. I
My
mean,
God,
just so much sick stuff. Like when she left
vicious.
Yuma and went to Phoenix, like they found her, and there was a video posted on in their Facebook group that somebody was across the street from the mom's house at a park and um, played the radio station and just to let her know that they were there and why don't you come outside, like just a whole
Oh
different
my God.
level
Yeah.
hatred that happens on the internet. And I just knew for me, like I can't imagine being that invested. I'm invested in some of these, like these cases that you're mentioning. I'm
Yeah.
invested in the way of like I like to know the facts of them. I like to know details. I'm a big person of like don't put something on somebody that is not right. Wrong is wrong, right is right. I'm a big person for that. But seeing the hatred that some of these people can have, it is different level, and it's wild to see when that parent, you've never met them,
You
you
don't know
don't
them.
know,
Yeah.
and ultimately, despite what you may think of their parenting styles or the way that they parent or anything like that, you know what, their kids love them,
Yes.
and their
Well,
kids, I'm sure, would want to be home with them. That's what should matter more than your opinion of their parenting.
whoa. Sorry. Knocked
It's okay.
everything down. I'm sorry. But
It's
no,
okay.
you're so right, though. I don't know. It's like, okay, well, when you were like watching that, were you seeing an active time, like people, the things they were saying and knowing this isn't true or whatever? And how is that kind of what Pat like
So I'll
fueled you
tell
to
you what,
say,
actually, I'll give you a perfect example. It's really like context matters, right? So there was a former, I don't know, there was a former friend in mod who decided to leak some DMs to a creator during that time. And of course, the creator puts out this information, but they don't have full context, right? So you're reading these text messages. Now, mind you, the text messages were actually from 2018 and 2019, but they're making it seem like these messages are from 2022. And like there's a full on like there's stuff happening today that actually had happened 2-3 years ago. At the time there was this, he couldn't even get away from the house, kind of a
Yes.
narrative being pushed. But
Yep.
ultimately, what people didn't know, what I couldn't say out loud at that point in time, obviously now is a very different day. But what people didn't know is he'd actually gone to Savannah. He had gone to be with his grandmother for 2 weeks. He was there by himself, and he didn't go see his parents. He stayed there with his grandmother. But like
Right.
you claim he couldn't get away, he was gone by himself for 2 whole weeks.
Yeah.
And he missed his family and he came back home. But you can't say that because she's choosing silence. And that's a detail I know behind the scenes, but I can't go out there and fight with it because then I'd have to prove, how do I know that? Well,
Yeah.
then I'd have to show text messages to prove that. So
Yeah.
it's a very hard situation when I think that's the reason why I understand when the parents come here and they're fighting for the truth. You
Yeah.
don't know the truth of their situations. You don't know what they've gone through in co-parenting situations, in divorce situations, in we're different kinds of parents than you. Like in all of those, like there's just so much that you just don't know, and people
Yeah.
assume a lot.
Yeah. And they act like they know for a fact when, you know, they just don't. That's just simply it. It's so hard to be lied on. And I know that had to be so hard for Dre, so hard for you to sit back and choose silence. I mean, I get why, because there's always a response to the response and it just makes things more hectic. But being lied on like that is really hard. And when you can't, like Molly had a huge channel at the time, her impact would have been huge. So,
And it wasn't just Molly either. Like Without a Crystal Ball was another creator covering her, and those two creators had over 100K. Well, actually, I think Molly was at like 86K, something like that. But like, it's a lot, and a lot of that coverage has not stopped to this day. They watch everything she does. I think that's just a new way of life that she perhaps. I have not talked to her. I don't talk to her anymore because I didn't choose silence alongside of her, and she didn't agree with that, and I respect that. Like that's her boundary completely. But to this day, they still go after her. They still cover and dissect every single thing she says, does, eats, what her kids look like, how's she doing, And I imagine, like, I think of, let's say I'm going to use Brandy as an example because I know she has other children. If, let's say and this is just hypothetical, but let's say her kids go to a birthday party, right? And they played in the park hardcore, rolled around in the grass, just had an amazing time, big smiles on their faces. And she took a picture and she posted it like, look at the kids, they had such a great day. Do you know what people would say? They'd look at the grass stains. They'd look at how rough they look for the day, and they would automatically assume she's not taking care of them. Like
yep.
that's where their minds go for these parents and for these families.
So,
Everybody is a savior here.
yeah,
It's
you're so
it's
right
a
there.
weird dynamic. Again,
It's freaking
social
sad to
experiment.
think, because like she can never, you in when you're in that situation, her or anyone else who's in it, you really can't do anything right. you know mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No matter
So,
what you do or say, it'll be dissected. It's one of the reasons why I do understand why Katie Proudfoot doesn't come out and speak. People think that she should, right? And I get why they think that, but there is nothing that she can say that will not be dissected, torn apart, and every single word made into something that she did not say. It will
yep.
make it worse for her, and so therefore, choosing silence is the best for her. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I totally agree. I probably wouldn't either, because it will be played all day, every day on 20 different channels, and it's just, no, that would be suffocating.
Yeah.
Okay, so a couple other cases I know you followed along with, like Karen Reed. What are your thoughts on what happened there? Just a general, your thoughts on the case, the trial, how it ended, and having another one.
So oh, Karen Reed is pretty hard for me because I've got questions still on all sides. I am more pro Karen Reed, not necessarily like free Karen Reed kind of a thing, but I am definitely more pro Karen Reed. I think there's a lot of still unanswered questions, but I can absolutely acknowledge that the Commonwealth failed John O'Keefe like terribly, and I cannot overlook some of the gaping holes in their story that
Yeah.
do not make sense and do not add up.
Yeah.
So there's way too many holes in their story. I do not think that they'll ever get a conviction. I think that they can, attempt to convict her 13,000 times. And I don't foresee them getting a conviction.
Yeah. I don't
And
either.
I think getting ready
Okay.
to go back to court again, but haven't followed it as closely this time around. Once the
Me
trial
neither.
had ended, I got to take a break. But I think I stop into the glare. Well, I do watch glare content, so there's that, but when
Yeah.
there's new documents, and so it automatically is going to be pretty pro Karen Reed as is, but
Yeah.
um yeah, pointer lover, I don't think either. I don't think the numbers and just the physics of it all, they don't equate to that for me. But obviously something happened to him. I just don't know what something is, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. So
Yeah, I'm with you. And I
yeah.
have questions on all sides too. I pretty much like I've agreed with everything you've said, period. So it's funny because Callie said you're spot on. I'm like, yes, she is. She always is. Because you speak to my soul at times in a way I just can't describe, but I totally agree with you. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about now, this one, oh God, I want to talk about Quinton Simon. Now, the case against Leilani Simon, I should say, because
Mhm.
he deserves to rest. And I think I shouldn't have even said it like that. So yeah, the case against Leilani Simon, but in two parts. First, I want to talk about. We're going to go backwards. So we're going to start with during the trial. I know that you were watching, but it, a lot of people were blaming Danny even after it was proven it wasn't Danny. We saw what was a mess at the beginning, and we'll talk about, but we saw like the evolution of this, and I don't know. I think that it has to do maybe with ties to certain creators. I don't know. It was a big problem for me, though. I didn't like it. So I'm curious, what do you think about that? Like, what do you think watching that? Is there anything that really stood out to you regarding the trial and kind of the rumors that still were being spread even after we had the facts laid out for us? Yeah, how do you feel about that?
So a little bit of backstory. When he first went missing and they were looking for him, I didn't fully like cover. I didn't really get involved in it at that point in time. Kind of left it alone, and I kind of just kind of watched pardon my language, the shit show that was going down in Savannah on the streets and all of that kind of stuff, and just learned little bits of it at that point in time. I knew enough of it before trial came that I knew kind of what we were heading into and what charges she was facing. Um, I don't feel like I know well enough. I feel like the family was attempting to set up for an appeal when bringing up Danny. I feel like the police did a very good job before any YouTuber even hit the streets. They already were
Yeah.
pretty much wrapping up at that point, so they did their job. They did a great job, in my opinion. Um, I feel like, and it's an unpopular opinion, I feel like the fact that people getting close to Billy Joe
Hmm.
offered offered a space to blame somebody else to make reality be a little bit softer for her.
Oh, it did. Yeah.
Um, and I think that they potentially could have, I don't know, I think there was a huge lack of accountability um, in that particular in in the sentencing portion of it for
Yeah.
me, just for my own likings.
Oh God, I know.
I can imagine what it would be like to sit as a parent, and my love for my child and my grandchild is literally at a fight because how do you hate your own kid, But also you would you would fight with those emotions inside of you because you would want to hate the person who you love so much. Like I can't imagine what that was like. So I try and put empathy, um, in the forefront of my mind as much as possible with her. But I think I am challenged at times in that particular situation. I'm
Yeah.
challenged in the fact that he sat through the trial with little to no emotion while they are discussing some of the most terrible details that have happened to him or evidence that they have located. Um, I would have loved to have just seen a breakdown one time while they're discussing any of that, you
Yeah.
know, just show me some emotion, show me
Show
you
me you care
cared.
at all.
Yeah, like just something. When you're sitting and you're watching that, that's hard for me because it kind of tells me that you're emotionally checked out, and that challenges my ability to have even more empathy for you. So
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely do believe that I definitely do believe that justice was served, and we will see what ends up happening from there on her appeals.
Yeah. Well, okay. So, what about before the trial? Now, because I know some of your history, but I don't really know this part, to be honest. Uh,
Mhm.
Before the trial, when everyone was outside protesting and the clown showed up, the baby music in the middle of the night, the ghost of Quinton. You were watching all of that, right? And you were kind of trying to stay like on the side of this is bullshit. It needs to stop. Or
So
where were you at?
yes and no. I was not actually watching from the side of um, I wasn't watching from the side of Quentin being missing.
Okay.
Actually, during that time, Molly and Justin had put out that they did it, the fake death hoax had happened with
I
Marbon.
remember that. While they were
And
down
we
there,
were
like on the
still
street, right?
situation, yeah, and that was still going
Sorry.
on, and videos were still being put out and done about her. And they were meeting the step parents during that time. So I was watching more of what they were doing as far as that goes. So I was able to see some of what was happening, but my focus wasn't on the
Okay.
Quentin side of things at that time. It was more on the Marvon side of things still.
Yeah.
And that fake death hoax really like that took me for a loop hardcore. So
Yes.
that was kind of more of my focus at that time.
Now they announced that. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry, but I remember like watching either Justin or Molly announce this that the fake death like right outside protesting for Quentin. At least that's when I saw it. They were like
Yeah.
outside there at the time. Oh
Hmm.
my god.
Yeah, just randomly throw it out there.
Oh my God
Yeah.
Almighty.
Just
I
no
know that.
consideration for who could be watching or how, again, the parents didn't know until Molly and them had told him. His mother was actually on her way on vacation. She was actually on her way on a trip. And because they had said this, they turned their car around and went back to Savannah, went back to Georgia
Mm,
because they had learned that information, and then it ends up being not true. And that happened two times where it was just fake. And so that's a lot even, I can see all sides of it. Like that's a lot for that family to go through as well.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know.
So
It's like, do you have no uh even like Bullhorn Betty announcing on her live, she actually announced that they were digging up the backyard of Stacy Wandra, and his mom had not heard that yet. I believe that's what it was. But I wish people would think before they like put this shit out. These are real people. It's like they're talking about characters in a damn Sims game or something, like, oh, okay, just move the mom over here and we'll do. I don't know. I don't
I
like it.
think the more that you are here talking to avatars, you forget that there's a human behind the avatar. And
Yeah.
it really, I do believe that if you don't log off and take some time to be around real human beings, it
Yeah.
is so easy to dehumanize people here on the internet. And that goes for families, that goes for victims, that goes for all of it. I don't think that the hard part for me is, while that is completely like that's despicable, no parent should have had to learn about something like that.
Yeah.
The problem to me is, again, people support that content.
Oh, I know.
People
Well,
want that content. You know what I mean? People go
yes.
back, like, to me. And now again, I also don't think the parents should be here watching all the content either. You know what I mean? So for me, and I don't know the situation, so correct me if I'm wrong, Allie, but I would highly doubt that Brandy's out here watching a Bullhorn Betty stream, right? Maybe she is, I don't know. But
Yeah, no,
like,
I don't. I
somebody
think she
has
was
to give them
notified. Yeah.
information and go and run and tell her. I think that
Yep.
that is where, like, I have a problem with that, because are you really considering what that's going to be like for her?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so freaking wrong. And that's where the lack of empathy. It's already like you already have a person with no empathy doing crazy, saying crazy things. But then you've got the person who then runs it. They grab that information and they go run it back to a parent where
Yeah.
like, you might as well have walked up and just punched them in the face.
Yeah.
That's
Oh my
literally what you're doing when you're running back and giving that information to that parent that they may not need in that moment. For what? For
Pointer
what?
said,
For you to have
Brandy.
drama, for you to see these emotions? Don't you
Yeah.
know she's already been crying? You needed to see her potentially crying?
For you to break some news, for you to be the one who breaks it, because that's what's important.
Yes.
Is what it is. Pointer said she was on a panel when she
No.
found out. I think I remember that now. Like they told her while she was up there, and she was kind of stunned for a second. She was completely shocked, blindsided by it.
Okay, so wait, I do have a question. Did the creator of that panel take it to her? Or did somebody hop in the chat and be like, hey, so and so just said blah, blah, blah?
I don't think it was the creator on the panel. I think it was like someone who came in, but Pointer Lover maybe can refresh my memory because I know she knows. She's followed that in Summer's cases and Sebastian's very, very closely. Speaking of Michael Vaughn, like,
So Callie
no,
said,
go
Pointer
ahead.
Lever, yep. Huff literally just got out of the car and stepped foot on the front lawn when she found out.
Mm.
So somebody told her on the panel, and then
Oh, the channel
the
owner put it out.
channel owner put it out. See, that's I'm gonna
Mm-mm.
have to be silent for a second because
It was a creator. There's Deets. Deets would know. It was a
it's the
creator.
first person to break the story. That's all that it is. Like, why would you want to do? Why would you want to see her hurt? Why
Yeah.
would you like what? What good does that do? What is the point? Like, man, that is just
And if you're gonna do it, like if you feel like you're close enough where you want to be like, hey, before you're blindsided with this, should be a private discussion. That's not something for your YouTube channel, in my opinion. Because I feel like I could potentially tell my friend that something like this was going on so they weren't blindsided, but I would never do it on a freaking panel. That's just me.
Oh, wait. Okay. Deet said also, though, not to defend BHB, but she didn't have any secret inside info. She got it off the news. Wait, so the news put it out before they told the mom? Okay, well, then that's on law enforcement. Sorry.
Mm,
That
yeah.
one would be on law enforcement for me.
Yeah. Mm. That situation, people, how do you feel about people that have been interviewing Stacy? Because I remember, I will never forget when one channel was secretly recording him putting out his conversations and stuff, and I find that so reckless and disgusting. I really truly do. I cannot imagine using something like that for content. But yeah, how do you feel about his interviews and his kind of tour around the YouTubes?
So I wasn't here when a lot of the Michael Vaughn content started. So Stacy was kind of my first introduction into learning about Michael Vaughn. And of course, I had questions. So then I went and watched other interviews, and I listened to some of the Twitter spaces and just learned a lot more about it since then. Um, I'm a little bit torn. She was able to get it put out online.
Where did it say?
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Callie says Betty
Oh,
called the Maryland police and before that information was sealed. Well, I don't know. All I know is it's a damn,
okay.
yeah. Oh,
All right.
okay.
Um,
Wow.
okay. So the challenge that I have is I do appreciate that if you actually have watched, I watched every single interview. He went on a tour, right? Of all these different channels. And if you actually watched them, you could see in real time where, obviously something changing from like I think it was around 5:15ish to I think it was around 5:30. I'm not really mad about those kind of details, but
Yeah.
like I went to, I don't know, the A&W over here. And then in the next interview, it's like I went to the A&W over here, and those aren't the same here's, and they're not even near each other. Like that's red flags in my mind, right? So I think there is a benefit to it. However, I don't think, unfortunately, I don't think that all creators, some of them, yes, but I don't think that all creators gave the people who connected with them, the one who was getting marital advice from them,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
like the people that took it too far, those are the ones that like I don't agree with that side of things. So I do understand, and I do I don't know because I don't know if I would feel that type of way about all suspects. Again, like let's just say, let's say Steven Stearns. How would I feel if he, happened to get out tomorrow and went on a tour across YouTube? I think what he did is disgusting, and so therefore I'm like, how would I feel if he like I'm very conflicted on how I feel. I go back and forth from day to day. The one I will say though is when Brandy got to confront him, I had concerns because I don't want her to hear something that may break her heart, or I don't want her to jeopardize justice for herself. However, as a mother myself, I applaud the courage that it had to take to be able to sit there and not want to like jump through the screen and strangle him, but also to be able to ask questions and remove some of the emotion out of it for herself so she could get answers because she deserves answers 100%. So that one, I was a little bit weary at first, and then I watched her kind of move and operate, and I was like, okay, I'm here for this one. I want to hear what questions she has and what her thoughts are. So um yeah, yeah, I don't know how I feel about him doing it. Honestly, I again, I'm very conflicted, so conflicted with it.
Yeah. I don't like it because I personally feel with the case being open, like I just think that some stuff isn't for YouTube, you know what I mean? And I don't know. I mean, I guess you can't tell him he can't speak and he's been spoken a lot about, but like sneak recording his phone calls and I don't know. I just find it weird. And it's like,
Yeah, like the person who helped him log in for some geo fencing stuff. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't believe Jack Diddley. Like, no. If I
yeah,
can't, again, I don't think anybody deserved to have any geofencing or mapping or location information from the old phone. Like, you're doing too much. You are not law enforcement. You are now jeopardizing the potential, in my opinion, for justice.
yes.
Therefore, you're doing it so you could be the first one to have it, the person to be referred back to, but you're not really doing it for answers.
Yep, exactly. Oh, and that's
Yeah.
frustrating. Oh, Steph, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. And yeah, welcome you guys. Remy says once because I don't know much about that login for
Uh,
geofencing.
I may be saying it wrong. The wording may be, but like where he went and found like the messages or the old messages, and it showed the day and the time and the location he was at.
Yeah.
Maybe geofencing is the wrong terminology for it, so I apologize. But there is a creator who he actually in his interview with that he was when he was on panel with Brandy, he refers back to that creator again, and also for those receipts. So.
Okay, yeah, because I've followed it, but not as closely as like some, like especially like as Deeds and Pointer Lover. She says he logged into his Google account and got the data off the photos he had taken at that time. Oh my goodness.
Metadata. Okay, there you go. Sorry,
Okay.
I said the wrong thing. That was my bad.
No, that's all right. Don't apologize. Lil Red says, I agree. See, I understand creators wanting to talk about the big cases. I feel like you can talk about it without abusing the parents involved. So I agree with you. And I'm curious how you feel about this. Like, I can understand you want to grow your channel. So you're going to cover the cases that get attention. But here's the thing. Can't you do it and also cover other stuff and like not do it only that every single day, even when there's no information? Here's my thing. I don't care if you cover it every day, if you're going over actual new information, or it's like at this point, it's not that. That's not what we're seeing, you know?
I actually don't understand. When a new case comes out and it's brand spanking new, I do understand the coverage of it right then. When law enforcement starts with the actual like factual information and it's no updates at this time, I do think that it should be like you should move on from it until there is a new update and then give the update. There is so many missing children. There are so many bad crimes that happen every single day. There is a plethora of content
Yes.
that is out there for people to cover.
Yeah.
But again, I think again, a creator is going to do what their audience demands. And if I do a live stream on, I recently I've actually are we allowed to say other channels in here? I guess we've been saying other
Yeah.
channels, so my
Of
bad.
course. No.
But like Chasing has been putting out some content recently about cases I've never heard of. And like she's doing these
Here, I'll
quick
drop her link.
little, hey, this person went missing at this point in time. This is what we know about them, blah, 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 blah. And she did one yesterday. I haven't watched yet, but I want to watch it today. But she does do like she's doing that. And you'll see again, she does a video and maybe that's 1,000 views. But these people talking about Sebastian are getting 5 to 10,000 views in a day.
Oh, I know. Trust me. I know all about that. It's
You know what I
very,
mean? So like the audience is what dictates that. The reason why the creators don't move on isn't because they don't want to. It's because they have now created this monster that they've got to continue feeding and feeding and feeding, or else they won't get those views.
yeah, it's, oh God. It's a crazy, crazy cycle. I thought I had her link in here, but Tess, would you do me a favor and get Chasing's link just so since she mentioned it? Because I actually did see a couple of those streams. Here's the thing, Nonsense has said this before, and I agree with her. Sometimes some cases are just unfortunately, and she's like, I hate to say it like this, but and this is the truth, they're too boring. The details are too boring for people. There's not enough gossip and rumors. And I mean, yes, there's could be a missing person who matters just as much as the next, or a murdered person who matters just as much as the next. But it's so freaking sad to see the reality of the situation that sometimes it's just not enough for people to care, you know?
Well, I think that Leilani is a perfect example of that, right? Look at how many people were in live streams and chats and watching videos when he was missing and everybody was down in Savannah. And then you compare those same amount of views to the trial coverage, to the sentencing coverage. They're nothing like each other. But that's because a trial is boring. A trial is evidence and facts, and people don't want that. There's no room for your wild speculation or what you think happened when you're looking straight at evidence, you know? So that's why I say the subs are 100% responsible for it. I get the creators are responsible too, but the subs have the power to change that. And right now they're saying what they want, you know?
Yep. Okay, so and now I think this will be interesting. I have like I do have like at the end some like quick questions, just this or that random stuff for who is Nunya, just a few, like a handful. But before we go to that, I want to talk about like just some community things. So so the first thing, just your opinion straight up, and I'm not going to give mine, even though it's hard because we're having a conversation. I like to go back and forth, but this part, I really just want to hear from you, and then maybe I will at the end of your, whatever you say. But okay, so how do you feel about channel goals, like people, these new goals where, and is it different when it's true crime versus drama versus something else? So YouTube now has this thing where you can set a goal for your subscribers and tell them, I'm trying to get 5 super chats or 10 super chats, and then I'll do this or whatever if you do. What are your thoughts on this new function on YouTube?
Oh, I don't knock anybody's hustle, so it is a little bit challenging. So I think it gets gross, if you do 1 to 5, right? Let's say you do, I think you can make, I don't know, I'm not monetized, so I don't know money wise how it goes. But let's just say the lowest number you can offer is 5 for the goal. Okay. Let's just say.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, you do 5 and you do the little dollar, rinky dink super chats on a random true crimes, stream. All right. I'm not mad at it. Like, that's fine, whatever. But 50 super chats in a live stream that are $10 each. That is gross to me, because you are already, and typically some of those, like, I think the biggest part I have a problem, Bieber.
I know.
Some of those that I think I have the biggest problem with are the same channels who complain about the dad being monetized on his channel.
Yeah. Which I don't like.
And
that
so
either.
you already are collecting hundreds and thousands of dollars every month from this kid.
Yeah.
And you're just adding to it. And honestly, if people want to give to your page, they shouldn't need a goal to give. It's just a marketing gimmick as well. But I again, if you're just hanging out with your people, chilling, like on a live stream like this, where we're just chilling, interviewing, talking, I don't think I would have a problem with it. But when it starts to be like, when that whole stream is nothing but drama about a missing child or bashing of the parents, like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
And it's definitely handheld for sure.
I think it's different if it's, okay, for me, it's like if it's a drama stream or something, like that's totally different, because I don't know. I just think if you're doing a case where there's real people involved and the worst day of their lives, I just don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. I do find it gross, and I'm not going to apologize for that. It is what it is. I'm not going to. I try not to judge people for knock their hustle, whatever. But me personally, I would never, absolutely never, ever, ever. You will never see me do that on here ever. So I just don't like it. Okay, so what about, how do you feel about when a creator asks their subscribers for money? Now, whether it's, and it could be different, I suppose, whether it's for something in particular, like maybe Christmas or an attorney or bills. Like, how do you feel about that? What do you think?
So I feel like that's a little bit challenging and a lot to unpack. So let me go over a couple of different scenarios that I think of when you said it.
Okay.
So I have had a creator have something going on in their personal lives, ask for help, and I've given help, right? I have no problem with that, because there are definitely times where we are down and out or we need a helping hand, and I have no issues with that. I have 2 creators now that I'm thinking about it who I've helped in that way. And both of those creators were very transparent in what they needed it for, what they needed some help in. And also, when it was all said and done, they circled back, if, let's just say, one is, I don't know, to move across country, or one is to do this or do that. Like, they proved they move across country. Okay, perfect. I'm good. I don't have any problem with that. I don't mind helping people at all. Totally fine with it. So that one I'm okay with. Legal funds, I really do struggle with. Again, a personal legal fund versus, like, because you're fighting something in your real life. Maybe you're fighting to keep custody of your kids, or maybe you're fighting a really bad toxic ass ex in a divorce. I probably wouldn't have a problem with that. However, if you're fighting a lawsuit on YouTube because you can't seem to shut your mouth, you're not getting $1 from me. I won't do that. because you have the choice to be quiet. You have the choice not
Yes.
to talk about that situation
Point.
or talk in that way that you are that is currently got you in that situation. But you make a choice to actively stay in that space and make things worse for yourself, typically time and time again.
Yeah.
So I'm not with that. I don't get down with those ones. Um, Christmas for kids. Ooh, again, we had a couple of years ago in Jones's Discord, we had some single moms, some of which were creators, some weren't, and Christmas was going to be really rough for them that year. I had no problem with helping out and
Yeah.
buying things for the kids on Amazon and sending it to them. I don't have a problem with that. Um, if they came for the next 3 Christmases after that and asked for the same exact help, I probably would have a little bit of a problem with that.
Yeah.
Because Christmas does happen every December 25th of every year, and you do have 11 months to plan in advance. And if you've chosen not to plan for your kids' sake, even if it's just $5 a month, $10 a month,
Yeah.
you didn't get coffee this month and you set that to the side for them, then that's completely fine. Like that's what you should be doing. But when it is the internets, like I know there's a creator right now, we won't mention her, but there is a creator out there that every year for the last 5 or 6 years, her
Yeah.
children's Christmas has been provided by her community.
Yeah.
Mind blowing. I couldn't even bring myself. If I was homeless tomorrow, Alex, maybe my two closest friends would know, but nobody else would have known or
Right.
would know, right? And
Yes.
I
Yes.
couldn't imagine coming to the internet, even if I really, really need it. And I know that's probably my pride and all that, but like I couldn't imagine coming and expecting it. Because a lot of these people, they expect you to take care of these things for them.
Yeah, they do.
Like, and some are surprised that the internet sent them a bill this month. Like their internet service provider sent them a bill. They had no idea that was going to happen.
You know,
Why-
it's very
How do
frustrating.
you not? It happens every year. Utility or every month. Your utilities, it sends you a bill. Your rent, your mortgage. That's it happens every month. Like it's gonna happen. So I don't like to see people being taken advantage of. However, I have a very unpopular opinion. I think the people who choose not to do any research, the people who choose not to ask questions, and the people who choose to allow their heartstrings to be connected to their purse strings and they open up those wallets and they throw money at
Yes.
people, I think those people should not be able to say that they were scammed. I think those people should not be able to, because they should have had more discernment in who they're throwing their
Yes.
hard-earned money at.
Yeah, I agree with you. If you do it, even if it's a loan, you better know it might
It's
not come back.
gone.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
See, I agree with you. I'm not a fan of it. Like, I don't mind if an emergency or something occasional, but I just think if it's constant, you need to get another job or do something else. It's not your subscribe. And especially if you are a true crime creator and you've got all these people in there because they care. And some of these people think they love Sebastian. You got all these people coming in to hear the latest update. And at the beginning, you got to give a sob story about what you need or whatever's going on in your personal life, which should be private. I'd pro tip, keep it private. Okay. But yeah, that's a problem for me. I don't like it. Another pro tip, speaking of lawsuits, if you're in a lawsuit, the best thing to do truly is to be quiet, tighten up. And I'm not talking about just if you're being sued. Also, if you're the plaintiff, it's really dumb to not
Yeah.
shut the hell up and get your shit together. I mean, it's
Yep.
mind blowing.
Definitely. Mama Gladiator, I love that. Speak that into existence. Next a couple more days and a whole new year starts for you and your family. And I don't have, like, I get it. Times get rough for everybody. And sometimes you do have to ask for help. And there
Yeah.
is nothing wrong. I have nothing wrong. I mean, I see nothing wrong with people asking for a hand up
Yeah.
versus a hand out. And a lot of the people here, they ask for a hand out. They
Yeah.
want to do no work for it. They just want you to give and give and give.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan.
Now, like you said, I've had situations where people I know, like very rarely an emergency happens, and I have no problem with that, and I think that's great, and that's what a community's for. But like you said, this is not what we're talking about. Not the occasional emergency happens or something. This is constantly. You better just expect it. So.
Yeah.
And subscribers, my heart goes out to anybody struggling. Like my first year on Christmas, I really was struggling. It was hard. I had a wish list, and I wish I would have, not for me, just for the kids. I really wish I wouldn't have done it, because now I've changed so much since I started my channel, and my thoughts have changed so much. I wouldn't do that again. However, last year, and this is still asking for money, or in a way. Last year, I put out like 10 wish lists from the community. People had emailed. It started with one person and they needed help. And then I got other emails. And so I was like, you know what? That's what we'll do. We'll just keep sharing different wish lists every couple days. And here's the thing. I don't mind to do that because people truly need help. But also, I have seen
Absolutely.
people try to take advantage, and some of it was, I learned maybe, I don't know that I should do that, because then I'm responsible and I'm asking my subscribers to help, but you want to help, so it's like, oh, what do you do? I don't know. But
Yeah. Yeah. I think that I'm so beyond grateful for yesterday. Or not yesterday, last year we did that. We had 3 or 4 people who we asked, like, we pick them. So we watched these people throughout the year, and we've seen them try and bring kindness to other people when they're going through their own struggles. And so we picked those 4 people and said, hey, we'd like you to go and make a wish list for your kids for
right,
Christmas this year,
that's
and
awesome.
everybody's gonna like pitch in and buy something, and please make it, reasonable, obviously. Like, put something for $5, but put something for $50, whatever, and give us a good range in between there. And some people who could afford it, they bought the $50 ones. Some people who could only afford the $5, they bought the $5 ones. But everybody came together, and those kids had a different Christmas. But we picked those people. I think the problem is like there's so many people in the community that you see like that they're saying they're struggling, and a lot of people will use this place to just bring a smile to their face and try and find some happiness when life can get really, really overwhelming. And so to watch people take advantage of that, or even to watch people expect that, like it's the expectation of the money, and also people will financially manipulate too. That I think I have the biggest issue with, because when I see, there may be creators who will use potentially an illness, or they'll use, it's the dry bagging. Probably the dry bagging is probably my biggest one, where it's like, oh man, our
Oh god.
only car that we have to drive the kids to and from doctor's appointments broke down yesterday, guys. I really got to make sure. I know my check is coming in 2 weeks, but I really got to make sure that I get it together. And I'm going to be pumping out a bunch of streams for you guys because I got to get this money up, right?
Yeah.
And it turns around and it's like, what they're doing. You know that they're putting that out
Yes.
there to their audience
Obvious.
because, like, oh my gosh, how can we help you? Is there a part we need to buy to help you? What's
Yes.
wrong with the truck? We want to know, right? And then lo and behold, you've got like Sally J wrapping up over there. And she's like, well, I got a sweet 10,000 I can just give you to fix it up. I heard a creator one time. One creator was mad at the other creator because one of the subs paid $12,000. She paid the lady's rent for 1 year. It was $1,000 a month. She gave her $12,000 to pay her rent for the year to help her
Oh
get back
my
on her feet.
god.
Could
Wow.
you?
No, hell no.
I
Mm,
Get me back on my feet. Give me 2 months. I'm good. I'll figure it out from there.
I would
But
never.
I could never ever take that from somebody. I just couldn't.
I couldn't
But
either.
she did.
I could not do it either. I've had, even when subscribers are good to me, just trying to like super chat a lot or something like that, I'm like, oh, it makes me feel bad. Like, I don't even want to accept that. And I just want to read 2 comments. So, and one's a question, but first Melissa says, and YouTube does not suggest that you just ask people to get a membership for nothing. They suggest you put out members only content and bring awareness to perks, ma'am. And I wanted to read that because I've seen it kind of people pushing this. YouTube tells us to do it. That's what, if I only got 2 days left, please be a member. YouTube does want you to advertise your memberships, but they suggest you do that by like creating content that's only members only, and then going and saying, hey, come watch this members only video. Like they give you, they tell you what to do. It's not just, yeah, go ask people to join membership for nothing. That's obviously what they want their little goal thing to be. You know what I mean? That's more of what YouTube's wanting you to do there, is just ask for no reason, basically. So, because you got to remember too, YouTube earns a cut, but it's not.
Well, I think we may have an expectation that may be higher than an ability. And what I mean by that is we are expecting these creators to actually be creative. And so we're setting an YouTube, whoever is setting an expectation for them to be creative, which is above their potential ability level, maybe. Because then you'd have to find out what perk could you offer, what could you do, So that's possible too.
Damn, you're so right, man. Okay, so, oh yeah, the comment before I go to my next little quick question. Christina says, do you think if the subs would stop giving money, the creators would finally get a job, or would they go to a life of crime because they refuse to work?
If the subs would stop giving money, even if the subs never gave a dime in super chats, views will still pay, memberships would still pay. So by that logic, we're led to assume there's no memberships, there's no AdSense. Let's just say they lost their monetization on the page. Number one, they'd be freaked the heck out, and they'd be trying to hurry up and get it back as quickly as possible, as we've seen many creators would have done.
Yeah, me included.
Would they go get a job? I don't know. I don't think so. I think they would figure out how to get that money back. I think that they would push angels. That's true. But there's Cash Apps, PayPal, and Venmo, etc. But in Christine's question, I think she's saying there is no money coming in.
Yeah.
Like zero, zilch, nada. What would they do?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm trying to figure out the way to word it without it being too controversial. I think in my head, I have, let's say, 10 different creators that I would apply that to. And I think that there are some who would find another hustle to get over people with. There are some who may potentially just go to a different, platform, start all over and just, deal with it. And then there are some that, honestly, the life of crime, they may have not have even left in the first place. So there's that.
It's true. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Remy said, I have a feeling a lot of them wouldn't be good criminals, or would be. I'm sorry. I really don't think, I knew what I meant to say, but it didn't come out. I'm sorry. I really don't think a lot of them would be good criminals, to be honest. And that's funny.
True.
Okay, so now let's see. What do you consider real life? Which you already said that. Never mind. We talked about that because you kind of
we talked about that one.
True crime thing. Yeah. Okay, so are mods a reflection of the channel?
Oh, yes and no. If a mod is here in your chat and somebody comes in and let's say they immediately go to I don't know, bashing Billy Joe, right? And the mod doesn't delete it. Yes, that mod is a reflection of your channel in that case. If that mod is, I'm just going to use Jen Lu, right? Let's say Jen Lu goes up on Deet's panel tomorrow and she's acting a plum start fool. She's turned, her turn is turned up, right? Okay. She's going real life. She's doxing. She's doing all these crazy things, right? obviously there'd be a conversation, but let's say that's her new way of life. She would never. So I'm just saying,
Right.
but that's her new way of life. Okay. And I think if you still continue to have her as a mod in your channel, yeah, what she is doing does
Yeah,
affect you.
I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. So, some people kind of think no, and so, it's all over. Opinions are all over. So let's do it, Bendy. Get turned up.
I know. She had her turned up has to get turned up, Deets. I don't know if you're ready for that.
Grandma says I'm a mod for Nunya. She likes me a lot. We all like you, Grandma Sherry.
I do
How
like
can you
grandma a
not?
lot.
Even Wolfie was like, when I did a giveaway, she's like, "Can I randomly choose?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And she's like, "Okay, I'm choosing Grandma Sherry." And I was like, "Okay." She loves her, so it's funny.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, so let's see. Well, would you? I didn't know you weren't monetized. Like, would you do it, or do you just not want to? Like, what
So
are
at
your?
one point in time, everybody's like, "You got to be monetized. You got to be monetized. You got to be monetized." And I
Mhm.
did. I started the process, and I think on one of my streams, I think I collected like 50 or $60 in super chats because it was my first one where the actual like monetization was turned on.
Yeah,
But I never actually finished my AdSense account, and I left it there at first because I still wasn't sure about it. And then I was like, I really don't want to do this. Like, I'm literally turning it on for everybody else. That's the only reason why I'm turning it
yeah,
on. And some people would be like, no, you should get paid for your time. But like, I feel like as soon as I start to collect money from it, I don't know, maybe I feel like money changes people around here and you become
yeah.
somebody else sometimes. I know that there's so many things you could do. Like you could donate to people, in the community. You could donate to uh, different charities and things like that. But then it feels like a job to me. And this is just a hobby. This is not my job. Like I am a productive citizen who is gainfully employed. But that like this is not my job. So I want to I just want to keep it fun, for me.
Yeah, I respect that a lot, honestly, because you could. I mean, a lot of people love you. I enjoy, like, I always, I usually agree with what you're saying. I'd say there has been a time or two where maybe I wasn't on the, like, just watching you. I love watching you go through stuff with Deets, like you need every single detail. And it's just such a fun process. But yeah, I think a lot of people would be there to support you and would love to support your channel. And so the fact that you choose not to, I don't know. I respect that. I can get down with that. That's cool. But okay, so
You do,
would
Lindsay.
if you could change anything in your history on YouTube, would you? And what would that be? You don't have to answer it, honest.
Yeah, on that one I'm gonna have to plead the fifth.
Okay. But you would change some things and redo it differently. Maybe.
There's one, well, okay, let me see. There is one live stream that's currently up on my page that I am
Hmm.
not the proudest of, but I keep it there because I stand on everything that I said at the time. But it was definitely me reacting in my emotions, and I try very hard not to do that. But I'm also not a deleter. I'm not a person who's gonna be like, no, that never happened, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's the one where, although I still stand on everything I said in it, I just think that there's parts of it that like just parts of it that I could have chose better words for sure.
Dude, yeah. I get that totally because
So,
like it's hard not to react, but it's never the good thing to do. It's always best to just wait. But yeah, I can definitely I've made a lot of mistakes on here, honestly, and things that I would do differently. But yeah. Okay, so if you could give any advice to someone who is going to join YouTube, and not just YouTube, but like this little community, whether it's just true crime, which is more of like me and Melissa's channels, but we hang out and we like to know what's going on within the people of these in the trauma community. So within both, if you could give any advice for someone who is walking into that, what would it be?
first, you need to have thick skin. You really need to have other people's opinions
Oh yeah.
cannot make you waver on who you are. know who you are, love who you are, be very self-reflective, run. That'd probably be the first thing I would say. Um, be yourself. I see so
Yes.
many creators come in here and they try to emulate what somebody else is doing, but like you are uniquely yourself. Like there is nobody else on this earth that is exactly like you. And so that automatically means that you have something you can bring to the platform. Coming in here and acting like somebody else, um, you're gonna feel fake. It's gonna seem fake. You're gonna come off fake. Don't do it. Just come in and be you. Your people will find you. Your subs will find you. They will like you, and just do it that way. Um, Please do
Yeah.
not use your full government name. That's not something you should do because people are crazy and they're loons on here.
Yep.
Probably my biggest lesson that I actually, two things I've learned over the last year. One one more so over the last probably month and a half. Is it's okay to sit in the bushes and watch a person's actions before jumping into a chat, before trying to get to know a person. And I'm talking about just in a live stream kind of area, because a lot of times people will jump into a chat like, oh, I really like what this person is saying right then and there. And they're in it, right? They're in it to win it. And then they find out 2 days later, or 2 weeks later, or 2 months later, or 2 years later, that like that person is trash. I don't know how I ever supported them.
Yep.
But like when you continue to support people over and over and get that same result, like I need you to look within, at that point, maybe
Yes.
change how you're doing that. So that's a big one. I'm not a big person on believing people's history. Just because somebody else has history with somebody does not make that your experience with them. However, I do think that you should heed a warning from history and then go and make your own decision for yourself from there.
Yes.
Allow people to show you who they really are, because if they're that way, they're going to be that way with you. It's going to happen.
Yes. That's so true.
Hmm.
Just because someone had, take warning from it, listen to it, but learn for yourself. Like you gotta, if not, yeah, you gotta learn for yourself on that stuff. Is there anything else? And also, I want to show you something. So I've never showed this before, but I've talked about it. So after I got demonetized and I got remonetized, you have to go back and remonetize all your videos either at once or individually. And I didn't want to do that. Probably 70% of the videos on my channel are not monetized. But because I changed the way I wanted to do things with summer, I didn't want to take the videos down, but I want you guys to see, like, here's some, I am not earning money from any of those videos. Here's like tons of Summer Wells videos, and I can just scroll and scroll. None of them earn any revenue. Nothing beyond this, actually. I never went back and turned them on, but so I do leave them up. I'm with you. Like, I don't want to take them down. Most of these are about summer, but also, like, I just decided the best thing I could do is leave them not monetized. And I want to prove that I can literally just scroll through and scroll through. None of them are on. All the monetization is off because, yeah, I don't want to erase, like, I'm not proud of what I did, but I also don't want to act like it didn't happen. So I leave them up. However, none of them earn any money. And like I said, I can just scroll and scroll and scroll. They're all off. So I've said that before, but I just want to show, like, I truly do mean that. I don't know the answer. I don't really know the right thing to do in that situation. So that's just what I did. So, but okay.
Yeah, I can respect that completely. And I also can respect like being able to look back. Everybody doesn't make the right decisions at all times. We all
Yeah.
make mistakes. We're all human. We're all,
Yeah.
flawed beings at some point in time or another. So it's important to be able to it's amazing to me that there are so many people around here that it seems like, that's what I'll say, it seems like they don't have true, real friends around them that will tell them, hey, I think you need to log off. Hey, you should go to
Yes.
bed. Hey, that's not a good look for you. Hey, you're going real hard. Maybe you should just, fall back a little bit. hey, I don't like the way you're trashing those parents. Hey, like they give them no feedback. And I think that's one of the most dangerous things to do
Yeah.
as a creator, excuse me, is to surround yourself with people who
Yes, man.
are yes. Mhm.
Yes. I totally agree with you. Well, like I said, like I did not even at that time, I didn't even I didn't even think of my impact like that. And I was just so dead set I was right. And now I truly think I was wrong. Like, I don't think they were perfect parents, but I don't think they were involved now because they haven't still, there's never been an arrest. And I just, like, honestly, I was part of beating these parents down, picking apart everything they said. Like we talked about Katie, like I totally did that. They would do a live and I would just pull it up and review it. And yeah, that's why I have hope that some people might change. You never know because, like, maybe they don't see their impact. But some of them I think don't, they won't, but you never know. Now and then you might see some change if people keep talking about it. What you're doing on your channel, keep doing it because you could really make a big difference. So,
Yeah, I think that's why there are certain people, that do get bothered by the things that I say because, like there's a lot of people out there that feel similarly to me. And it does go against a specific narrative that may be pushed at that point in time. But I mean, we all have, they're just opinions, like I, they're just opinions. Also, I want you to know that MK apparently is grifting for pizza in your chat. Um, I did see that. So I hope he plans on
I
sharing it.
love MK. He's so funny. Okay, so I do have to redirect on for Melissa's live at 8:30. I have a couple last little quick questions, but I have
Okay.
been enjoying you guys on Melissa's so much doing the weight stuff. Like, I told her I want to start making a few TikToks about some of the stuff she's talking about. It's so
Mhm.
interesting. But hearing you guys read and you with Tess and Melissa, like everyone up there, it's been really cool. So what do you think? Like, have you had fun? I know you've had a blast doing it. It seems like it's just like hangout hour, like to just, I don't know. It just seems it's so much fun.
You know what? So I love a good dramatic reading. Like I love to read anything, emails, even my emails. I read them in a dramatic voice because I think that is hilarious when you can take something so simplified and make it like, like a whole telenovela. That's like I'm so here for that. So it's really like right up our alley. But I have enjoyed it so much and I've learned so much about, Wade. So much so that my husband this morning, I was letting him know that I may be I may be watching that live or participating in that live. And was telling him this morning I was doing this and that so that like he could be like, hey, don't come bother me. I got things to do tonight. But in the process of telling him that, I said, "Oh, I'm gonna go do stuff, the dramatic readings with the Wade Wilson wives." And he was like, "Wade Wilson? What?" He's like Deadpool? And I'm like, "No, no, like Wade Wilson, Wade Wilson." He's like, "No, like Wade Wilson is Deadpool." And I'm like, "No, no, no, let me show you. I can show you." So I went to MJ's page and had to show him pictures, and he's like, "Oh, okay. But yeah,
Yeah,
like I love it. I've enjoyed it so much. Honestly, Deets taps into her inner, Shror
it's
so
so
well.
funny. Yeah.
And that part makes it even more. Jones's reaction to Deets reading Mary last week was everything for me. Like I could go back and I like watch it a million times because it's hilarious. So but yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun. It's so new and it really kind of came out of nowhere, and
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed it. It feels like just hanging out with friends. I think
Yes.
for us, we also were kind of in limbo where because of so much drama going on, like we didn't even want to go on the internet. Like we just wanted to stay in our friend bubble. It was safe in there
Yeah.
kind of a thing. And it kind of has given like we like we're going forward with this video idea. Like it's um kind of ignited that creativity for us as well, and given some additional ideas as well. So I'm so appreciative that Melissa has made room and allowed us to come up and join her for that.
I've loved it so much, and just like listening to you guys, and even like Melissa said, every person brings something different, and that's what's so cool about it. And
Yeah.
even the other night, actually, Tess, you were in the chat, and Tess was like, "Wait a minute, that's so and so's sister," and it's just like everybody. Then you got Deets with the dirty talk with her voice, which she has the, and just the laughs and the love. It's just so awesome. I've enjoyed it so much.
Yeah.
And
And Tess knows all the deeds. Like she knows. I feel like she is the person. She's got the notebook and the whiteboard out for
yes,
all the Wade Wilson stuff, and I
yeah,
appreciate it because if they're talking about something on the panel and it's not my turn to read, like I'll be watching the chat to see like, okay, what's Tess gonna say next, so that I
yeah.
can see
It's so funny.
details. She's like, oh yeah, that's so and so, and they did such and such, and I'm like, okay. Like it helps me to be able to put pieces together.
Well, I know when that stood out to me because it shocked me. I'm like, whoa, like that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, look at Cash saying hi to the Nightbot. You've stopped.
Oh, Cash. I miss you, buddy.
Anna says Allie needs to dabble in reading Wade's part. Hey, if Melissa wanted me to, I would do anything for her, honestly. So, or I would do it just for fun. I know that
I would so be down to hear you read some of those emails.
I would do it with you guys at least one time, but I'm looking forward to seeing like the pictures and stuff that she's gonna do tonight, and maybe I'll come up with you guys since that link's in the group chat. I'll just add myself because Melissa was like, you can. So yeah, that'll be fun. And you guys, this live will direct you straight to Melissa's live, which starts at 8:30. So if it ends before, I don't really know how that will work, but clip that, she said. Grandma doesn't want to follow.
Honestly, I feel like I want Allie to read like a Mary email because I feel like you kind of would blush a little bit. Like you kind of have that Deets vibe going on.
Yes.
And so I feel like you'd be like tripping over the words, trying to figure out like what word you could use instead of that word.
I'm sure I would.
Even
thinking about it
hilarious.
Makes me nervous, but that's funny. Not Mary. Don't do her that dirty, Nunya.
Well, maybe not Mary. Maybe not Mary. I don't know.
It's just been so fun listening to you guys. Honestly, I've enjoyed like just getting to know you in general. It's been a lot of fun, seriously. So and I hope you guys have enjoyed getting to know Nunya tonight. So let me ask you, I got a couple like quick questions, like 7 or something, just this or that. So coffee or tea?
Oh, neither. I don't drink coffee or tea. Dr. Pepper.
Oh, that was going to be my finale because I Pib or Pepper, which I know the answer, but.
Oh, yeah, definitely Pepper. Pib is just a chili version of Pepper.
Okay, so TikTok or YouTube Shorts?
TikTok or YouTube? TikTok.
Okay. Peanut butter. Do you like your peanut butter crunchy or smooth?
Smooth.
Okay. Movies or TV shows?
Oh. Probably TV shows. I like to binge watch things.
I love to do that too. Like the whole series at once. Okay. Rain or snow?
Oh, well, I get rain, so I'm gonna go with snow because I love snow, but I don't live anywhere near snow. And I have this theory in my mind that if I lived in snow, which people always say it's not true, if I lived in snow, I'd go outside and make snow angels every day because I'd be so delighted that there's snow outside. But they tell me that's not true, but that's what I would do. Absolutely,
I lived in like people that don't get snow, they want it so bad. But when you have it, like, first of all, it's freezing, of course. But this is the thing. It's really pretty at first when it's falling. But then once everybody's driving in it, wrecking, there's wrecks everywhere, houses falling in, and there's muddy slush everywhere. It's not so pretty anymore, like once it melts. So, yeah.
Honestly, I feel like if you started your day off with making a snow angel and then you went to work and then you came home and you made another snow angel the snow wouldn't bother you at all. That's what I've convinced myself.
You started your day off making do like it's a great day today with the
Mhm.
sun shining on your snow and the
Yep.
mental picture I just had, Nunya. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
Um, okay. So, um, what about okay, you got me off track. Beach or the mountains? Can't get my
Oh,
words out.
beach. The
Oh, okay.
beach. Leave me at the beach. I could sit. I wish I lived. I live close to the ocean, but not as close as others. But if I could sit at the beach every day in silence all day, my life would be complete. Like
Oh
I
my
am a
God.
silence and ocean sounds kind of person. It grounds the heck out of me. The mountains don't do it for me. I feel like I need to be somebody's lumberjack at that point. I got broad shoulders, so I'm ready for it. But yeah, no,
Eating
no
squirrel
hollers,
gravy.
no hollers. No, I do not eat squirrel gravy. I don't eat squirrel. I don't eat anything that you will find in a park. There's no
Um,
squirrel. There's no skunk. There's no
in a
gophers. There
park.
is no groundhog. We're not eating
Oh my
anything at the
God.
park.
Nothing at a park. That is freaking
Mm-mm.
funny. Okay, Melissa says piddling around or a holler. So Melissa will, when we're on the phone, she'll be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Just piddling around." That's just like a country way of saying nothing, just like going around messing with stuff. And she's like, "What is what? What is piddling?" So
Yeah,
now,
I give me the piddling around before the
yeah.
holler. Yeah, I stay out of the cleavage.
I've got broad shoulders, so I'm ready for it. Nunya
Yeah,
2024.
that's my lumberjack outfit. Hey Kevin, I seen Kevin said hi earlier, but hey Kevin. Okay.
Oh, did he? Okay, and then three more. No, two more because you did pepper pepper. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset because I'm a night owl. I don't want to be awake for a sunrise.
Ooh, okay, me too. I'm really, really grouchy in the mornings. I'm not a morning person. I do not like the mornings. And then the last one is rap or country music.
Oh, rap all day. Rap. Like I'm that person in the school checkout line. My kids when they were younger, not now. Um, 'Cause they're older kids now. They're adults, but definitely like I'm that mom who's like on the way to school like baby shark do 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 and then they get out and they're like first of all fuck a bitch and the click you clank like rockets and Tupac. Sorry for the language, guys, but I had to give you the whole point of it. But yeah, totally,
That is
totally,
so
totally
funny.
rap.
She said she's lying. She listens to country 24/7.
No, I don't know. Honestly, if you ever did a trivia that was country driven, I'd be so confused. I don't think I'd know. I would know a little bit. Like I know there's a song, "Beautiful Crazy."
Oh yeah.
That song I know. Um, I don't
Stop.
know. I don't know
Celebrating.
too many other.
Sorry.
Yeah, not that kind of rap, Cash.
That is so funny. I always say like my kids go to a private school and everyone's fancy in their Cadillacs, very perfect outfits, hair all in place, and I roll up in like my 2011 Toyota Corolla that's got a broken mirror on one side and like painted hood that's a little bit different color than the rest. Holy jeans, tie dye, and like blasting some kind of rap music. Yeah, I don't fit in there, but it's okay.
There you go.
um,
I can do Jelly Roll country. Yes, Randy, that's true. I
oh
can
yeah,
do
jelly
Jelly Roll
roll.
country.
Mm.
I don't even know who Leonard Skinner is, so I think that's how you pronounce that. That's a lot of
What?
Y's and R's in that name.
Oh my gosh,
Is
you
that
don't?
really how it's spelled? Like that
Yeah,
kind of way?
something like very close. If
Wow.
not that, it's very close. Yeah. Um,
Mm.
this has been so much fun. I've freaking loved this. I've just loved it. Thank you for doing it. And the only other question that I had was, oh wait, what about country rap? Sorry, squirrel.
Um, what's an example of country rap?
Up church.
Oh, I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road.
Yeah,
Like that?
somewhat. Yeah, kind of that.
Maybe.
Also, Ryan Upchurch does a little bit. Jelly Roll does a little bit. Like it's rap, but also got like sometimes
Yeah,
banjos or.
Jelly Roll I could for sure do. I've never heard Ryan Upchurch music, so
Oh
I
my
don't know about that one.
God. Okay.
But yes, I do know Sweet Home Alabama. That's true. Um,
Okay, that's Leonard
oh, is that?
Skinner.
Oh, is she telling me that because that's Leonard Skinner? Oh,
Yes.
oh, okay. Well, my bad. Sorry.
um,
Um,
Crap.
okay, well that's good to know.
Country rap. Sorry, I was squirrel again.
None, you just lost a point. Sorry, Cindy.
Listen, now I know people don't. I don't like what Ryan Upchurch has done in some of the cases he's talked about. I truly don't. I don't agree with it, but I will say this. I do like some of his music, and
I've
I
heard a lot of
really,
people saying
yeah, I'm gonna send you a couple songs that are really good. But he's an independent
it.
artist, so like I think that's super cool. And I don't know if there's like a mental health problem, a I'm not really sure what all that was about, but just setting his like all that aside from his music, there's some pretty good music on there. I'll send you some good stuff.
Okay, yeah, yeah. You'll have to send it to me. I'll listen to it. I think I could separate, who he is
Yeah.
as a true crime creator and that trash, versus who he is as a
Yes,
rapper. So
that's
I'm okay with that. Oh, Melissa said no. Okay, all
no,
right.
it's actually I sent Melissa. I don't know if you ever listened. She probably didn't listen, but I've sent her and Wolfie a couple that I really love too. But okay, the last thing I'm going to ask you, and this cannot include anyone you personally know, but what
Okay.
are your favorite channels that you go and watch, like bigger channels or whatever, and it can be any topic. Like, what channels do you like when you need something to listen to and you're not like in this community?
So I recently have found a great love for it's a lawn care channel. Hold on, it's something about a bruh. Hold on, I know it sounds insane, but it is so my mind loves straight lines and perfectly looking and organized things. Uh so is it Yard Bruh? Yeah, it is. It's called Yard Bruh. Love it.
Yard,
And
bruh. Oh my God, I never heard of
Deets,
that.
yeah, Deets got me on that one, and I have loved it greatly. The other one is Gina loves Christmas, and she makes all
Ooh,
these like it's like a DIY home decor thing that she just like does
that's
all the
cool.
time. She does a lot of shorts, but I still sit there and watch. But yeah, the lawn community and organization are going to be two things. Like if I could watch people organize cabinets or organize their pantry or organize their laundry room or I don't know, organize their fridge. Like organization just is like it's the way to my heart. So I could watch any channel that's like that for days. So, but I'll go in and like I'll do a search. I don't necessarily follow channels per se. Yardbrush's probably the only one like that. But I'll go and like I'll search cabinet organization, and then I just scroll through all the shorts that it brings up, and I just get my kick there.
That's so cool because I do that too with other stuff, not cabinet organization, but like makeup videos, and I'll just scroll through shorts. I have other things besides crime too that I'm into. Like I love makeup videos, number one, but also like watching people bake cakes and ice cakes on shorts. I will just scroll and like similar to your yard thing. I will just watch them make the most perfectly decorated cakes over and over. I don't know why I'm so
Mm.
interested in it, but
Speaking of makeup, do you follow Michaela?
yes, yep. But I
Have
know
you
she's
seen her videos lately?
no, I haven't. I haven't been on TikTok for a bit. Why? What is she doing?
Man, she put out this video this week right before Christmas. And she was like, what the internet thinks my life is like. And it's like this beautiful decorated house, like this, all these beautiful things, right? Shopping, all this stuff. And then she's like, but what it's really like right now. And she is like bawling, crying.
Oh
And
my God.
so all of her videos since then have been like, there's something going on with her personally. Obviously, it's something she can't take to the internet. But man, it's hard to live through it and have to act like things are fine. And I was like, oh my gosh. But you said
Wow.
makeup, and that's probably one of I follow very few makeup channels now because they all kind of change once they
Yeah.
get all these endorsements. But
Yes.
her video, I was like, man, it broke my heart this week. And all of her videos this week have been like she's saying something in them and about it. And it's like, oh my goodness gracious, I don't know what happened.
Oh, I'll
But
go
it's
through and
been,
watch
yeah, you'll have to. But that's been one. I follow her. I also follow like I like to follow the little trends that TikTok has. So like when I see a new trend come out, I'll go and search the trends and then just scroll through all of those ones. I'm a big just scroller. I'm not really dedicated to one space.
Right. It's
Yeah,
so cool how
that's me.
like, trends take over like that. Sorry. But it's very cool to see what people come up with, though.
Hmm. Yeah, the creative people. I love creative people. I love creative people who come up with new ideas. I do like when I see other people do it, but then after that, like once you get to the 1,000th video and they're all like, "That we listen, but we don't judge." I'm like, okay, I'm over it. I'm over it. Like I don't, I'll use the wording, but I don't want to do that. So
Tess wants to know, do you learn the TikTok dances all alone?
Tess, I don't learn them. However, when I hear the music from the trend come up on my timeline and it's like a video is playing, I do think I can dance just like them. And
You
I cannot.
I do too.
I
Oh my God,
cannot.
that's so
But
funny.
yeah, like I think that like if I recorded me right now, like I'm gonna look just like that person in their dance video. But yeah, no, it's not
Yeah,
gonna look the same at all. It will not be the same.
I have thought the same thing because, like, I used to cheer and do gymnastics. Honestly, I feel like it was somewhat like part of my DNA for a long time, and I'm just naturally, I guess, I can like catch on to rhythm and stuff in music. And so I'll
Mhm.
think that I can do it too. But no, those dances are kind of hard to remember and go. I think I've tried to learn like one or two. I know I've tried at least one, and it was a lot harder than it looked. That's for sure.
Mm.
That's funny. But yeah, I grew up in cheerleading and gymnastics and I loved it so much. But once I started like partying and stuff, I really left sports and whatever. But all right.
I didn't know that you were into sports like that.
Yeah, but not all sports. I'm terrible at some sports, like softball with things like that. It's more of like gymnastics and dance that I really love. And at one time I was pretty good at it. I mean, I don't think I don't know what I got anymore. Hell, I did a cartwheel over the summer. My legs were sore after that. And like 2 years ago, I did a backflip and couldn't walk hardly for like a week. It messed up my sciatica. So
At some point in time, you're going to have to allow somebody to come on here, and even though it's on your page, you be interviewed.
that would be cool.
Yeah,
That would be
so
really
people could
cool.
also get to know you too.
That's such a cool idea. Yeah, maybe I could do
Hmm.
that sometime, or have like a few people come on, like my friends, a few friends come on and interview me or something. Very good
Hmm.
idea. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Another question I'd like for you to add
Oh,
to your
go ahead.
list later on, which I probably could have told you in private, is like, how did you create your page name? Because somebody
That's
said it in here earlier,
how.
but I was like, oh, that's a really good question that I know isn't on the list.
Yeah.
But that would be a good one too. Like, I'd be interested in knowing how some of the creators came up with their names.
Well, what
I mean,
about yours?
obviously, not the other ones. So I actually started as Nunya Bidness, Bidness, and I went into the OG drama community and dabbled a little bit over there, just hung out with them and learned a lot of history from them, and what that community used to be like at the time. And there
Mhm.
was somebody else in there that wasn't a very nice or kind person. And so when I would come in, they would think that I was her. And so luckily for
Terrible.
me, one of my people who I'm super cool with now, I call her my Ash, but Ash was like, you need to change your name to the Good Nunya so that people know they're like,
Aw.
you're the good Nunya coming in the door. And I was like, oh, okay. And it just stuck ever since then.
Oh, that's so cool. I cannot believe I didn't think of that, like to ask that. That's a great question. Um,
Hmm.
just like Glare, his is an acronym, like each letter stands for something. But yeah, that's such a great question. Mm.
Yeah. I mean, for the people who don't have, like, obviously, like a Melissa Jade or like Deets on the Streets, I know the story of how her name came about, but like there's a story behind that,
Right.
other
Yeah.
than
Damn. Or like Jen, the Ward Case Studies is her channel name. You know what I mean? Have getting into that.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know the story behind that either, so that'd be good.
yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to do it Thursday. So, and I want to ask other creators, like if you are a creator and you're interested, let me know. But I want to start with more like people that a lot of you guys probably know. Because I did the last time I did this, it was like Watts Island community, and the community's kind of changed, and there's a bunch of new creators, like Nonsense, for instance, and and I would be
Mm-hmm.
interested in honestly, I would interview anybody, honestly, or almost anybody. I Whether I agree with them or not, just to be able to get to know them a little better and maybe see a different side of who they
Mm-hmm.
are. But yeah,
Yeah.
so
Well, Melissa, I thought it was your name, but maybe not. I guess I always thought that. But maybe there is more to it then.
you know the story of Melissa J. Damn, I don't even know that story. It is her name.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's what I mean by the story is it's her name.
Right.
Good
Well, mine
golly.
is
It kind of put me up.
I wish I wouldn't have used my real name, but I didn't know. Like I just and now it's too late to change it, and like I wouldn't want to. I don't know. I just wish I wouldn't have done that, but it is what it is. So anyway,
Yes, and
um,
I could see that. Well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you to your chat for being so kind and
no,
allowing
I'm
me
so
to.
glad you came. It was awesome and lots of fun. I love talking to you. I love, like, honestly, like I said earlier, I do agree with you so much. And um, I think you say stuff that a lot of people maybe want to say. You and Deets both. Like, a lot of, yeah, a lot of what you guys say, I think a lot of people think, but maybe for one reason or another, they don't say it. So having somebody that does is really cool. It's scary to stand up and give your opinion when there are so many really vicious people on here. I guess that's what I'll
Mhm.
end with. Like, what is it? Is that scary for you, or do you feel like it's worth it because it's an important message? Because I know that you take hits, you have to in every case, so or in every situation, not necessarily case, but yeah.
Yeah.
What has that been like?
Um, so I stand like I really kind of live my life by the quote that says you stand for something or you fall for anything.
Yeah,
And for me, it's very important for me to stand for something. So it's okay if nobody else around me stands for if they all become jellyfish tomorrow or they all have no backbone tomorrow, that doesn't change who I am. I still have to stand by what I believe in and what I say I believe in.
yeah,
Um,
scary.
and obviously, we all make mistakes. So giving grace in a lot of spaces, I'm very like my page is the gray gang. And that whole thing is like everything is not black and white. There's so much gray in between. And when you start to only see the world in black and white, you really are failing to give yourself the opportunity to see kindness, to see people for who they really are instead of what you think they are. Um, so for me, it's a matter of it's more important for me to be true to me than it is for me to appease you and your feelings. Um, so yeah, that's my thing. I just stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
Well, I guess, doing that, at least when you lay down at night and, or sit down to rest at the end of the day, you can be proud of what you've done rather than I know, that feeling like you sit down at the end of the day and you're like, damn, why did I do that? Or whatever. You know what I mean? So why didn't I
I would
say
want
something?
to know. I mean, obviously my kids are adults and they don't come to my channel, but I also know that like if my kids were ever to happen upon my page, like they know I have a YouTube, but if they were ever able to watch my stuff, they wouldn't be ashamed of me. Of course they would be like, oh mom, like that's not cool, or your
Yeah.
page sucks, because that's what kids do.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't be ashamed to, or be like, oh gosh, like I don't like that lady right there. Like no, that's just the same person, you know. Um, so I definitely, I try and make sure that like who I am reflects. If my job's seen my YouTube page, I want to make sure it reflects like who I am as a person, in all aspects. I don't want to be a person over here that's this way and then be a person over there that's that way and then log off and be a person like this at home. Like I want to be myself authentically everywhere I go.
Yes. I love that. And yeah, I've just, I don't know. It's been cool getting to know you guys, and I have a
Mhm.
lot of respect for you, for real. I do. And thank you for coming on. I'm gonna end it though quick because Melissa's
Okay.
starting
Oh,
this.
just starting.
Yeah, and this chat will actually like bring you guys right to Melissa's. There should just be like, they might come up and say go to Melissa's and press a button. So yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Nunya, and I'm gonna
No
wrap it up.
problem.
See you
Have a good
soon.
night. Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you guys. If I can get it to